Maya was a bright and cheerful young woman. She lived in a small town where everyone knew each other. Her family was well known because her father was a leader who helped many people in the community. Maya was proud of her family, but also very humble. She liked to spend time with her friends and enjoy simple things like going to the park, listening to music, or just sitting under a tree and talking. One warm Saturday afternoon, Maya and 3 of her close friends decided to meet at the local park. It was a place where many people came to relax, play, and enjoy the fresh air. The sun was shining, the birds were singing, and a gentle breeze made the leaves dance on the trees. The park was busy, but it was peaceful. Children played on the swings. Older people walked their dogs. And some families had picnics on the grass. Maya and her friends found a nice spot near a big oak tree. They sat down on a soft patch of grass and started chatting. They laughed about school, shared stories about their week, and made plans for the summer. It was a happy moment, full of warmth and friendship. Maya felt free and relaxed. She loved these times when she could be herself without any worries. As they talked, a woman nearby was watching them. Her name was Karen. Karen lived in the neighborhood. Too, she was known for being strict and always careful about what happened around her house. Karen liked everything to be quiet and neat. She didn't like loud noises or groups of young people gathering in public places. For her, these things meant trouble. Karen saw Maya and her friends laughing and talking loudly. She thought their voices were too loud. She felt uncomfortable and annoyed. Karen had seen groups like this before, and she worried they might cause problems. Maybe they would make a mess, or maybe they would be rude to others. In her mind, she started to believe that this group was suspicious and disruptive. She did not know Maya or her friends at all, without trying to understand. Karen decided to take action. She pulled out her phone and called the police. She told them there was a group of young people in the park who were causing trouble. She said they were loud and that they looked like they might do something wrong. Karen used words that made the situation sound worse than it really was. While Karen was calling, Maya and her friends continued to enjoy their time. They had no idea that someone was watching them with such distrust. They did not know that soon, their peaceful afternoon would turn into a difficult experience. Maya felt happy and safe in the park, a place she had known since she was a child. She never thought anyone would suspect her of causing trouble. The phone call from Karen reached the local police station quickly. A patrol car was sent to check on the report. The officers knew that sometimes people called about real problems, but other times, the calls were because of misunderstandings or fears. The officers decided to go to the park and see what was happening. When the police arrived, Maya and her friends noticed them. Their mood changed immediately. They did not want any trouble. They stopped talking loudly and sat quietly. But Maya's heart started to beat faster. She wondered why the police had come and what they would say. The officers walked up to the group and asked them politely what they were doing. Maya explained they were just hanging out and talking. The friends nodded and agreed. They showed no signs of causing harm or disturbance. Maya hoped the police would see that everything was fine, but Karen was nearby and pointed at Maya's group. She told the officers again that she was worried about them. She said they were loud and suspicious. The police listened carefully and asked the group some questions. Maya answered honestly and respectfully. She did not want to upset anyone. As the questions went on, Maya began to feel uncomfortable. She felt like she was being judged for no reason. Her friends looked nervous too. They wondered if this was happening because of something they had done or because of who they were. Wished she could explain that they were good people. Just like Karen's family and others in the neighborhood, Karen watched the scene closely. She still felt uneasy. In her mind, she kept thinking about the possible dangers of young people gathering in public. But deep inside, a small voice told her maybe she was wrong. Maybe these young people were not troublemakers. Maybe she should give them a chance. But it was too late for that now. The police had arrived because of her call. Maya and her friends were caught in a moment they did not expect. They wished things could go back to how they were before the officers came. Maya's heart was heavy. She thought about her family and how her father worked hard to build trust in the community. She felt sad that someone could doubt her and her friends just because of their voices and laughter. She knew that sometimes people were afraid of things they did not understand. The officers finished their questions and told Maya and her friends that they were free to stay as long as they wanted, as long as they behaved respectfully. Maya thanked the officers and tried to smile. Her friends looked relieved, but still shaken. As the police left, Maya looked at Karen. She saw a woman who seemed unsure now. Karen's face showed a mix of emotions, concern, regret, and confusion. Maya hoped that one day Karen would see her and her friends as neighbors, not threats. Maya's day at the park ended quietly. She and her friends packed up and left, feeling a little tired but stronger. Maya learned something important that day. Sometimes people make mistakes because they are scared. But those mistakes can hurt others deeply. She thought about how she could help people like Karen understand better. Maybe if Karen knew who Maya really was, she would not be afraid. Maybe if people talked more, they would see each other's kindness and not just their fears. Maya's family had always believed in kindness and respect. They had taught her that everyone deserved a chance to be heard and understood. Maya decided to keep those lessons close to her heart. She wanted to show the community that friendship and trust were more powerful than fear and suspicion. The sun was setting as Maya walked home. The park was empty now, quiet and calm again. Maya looked back one last time, hoping that next time, the park would be a place where everyone could feel safe and welcome, no matter who they were or where they came from. The next day, Maya could not stop thinking about what happened in the park. She felt a mixture of emotions, confused, sad, and even a little angry. She kept wondering why Karen had called the police on her and her friends when they had done nothing wrong. Maya tried to understand where Karen's fear came from, but it was hard. Maya's friends talked about it too. They said they had never felt like this before. One of them, Jasmine, said she had heard stories about people being judged because of how they looked or where they came from. Maya nodded quietly. She knew it was true, but experiencing it was different. It hurt in a way that words could not explain. Meanwhile, Karen was at home. She was thinking about what she had done. When she saw the police arrive at the park, she had felt powerful, like she was protecting her neighborhood. But after watching Maya and her friends, she started to feel unsure. Something inside her changed. She couldn't stop thinking about the young woman named Maya. Karen remembered a time long ago when she and her family had struggled. They had faced hard times, money was tight, and life was not easy. During that difficult period, a kind man had helped them quietly without asking for anything in return. That man was Maya's father. Karen had never forgotten the kindness he showed her family. She had respected him and his family ever since. Now, Karen felt a strange mix of guilt and confusion. How could she have called the police on Maya, the daughter of a man who had helped her so much? Karen wished she could take back her call. She wished she had seen Maya differently, not just as part of a noisy group, but as a person with a story and a family. Karen decided to visit the park again the next day. She wanted to see Maya and maybe say something. She wasn't sure if Maya would want to talk to her after what happened. But Karen hoped for a chance to explain herself. The following afternoon, Maya was back in the park, this time alone. She sat on a bench near the flower garden. She watched the butterflies and the children playing nearby. Maya felt calm but also nervous about seeing Karen again. She wondered if Karen would approach her or just ignore her. Karen walked slowly toward Maya. She took a deep breath and said, "Hello, Maya. I'm sorry about yesterday." Maya looked up, surprised. She did not expect Karen to speak to her directly. Maya nodded but stayed quiet. Karen continued, "I want you to know I did not mean to hurt you or your friends. I was scared and worried, but I realize now I was wrong." Maya could see the sincerity in Karen's eyes. For a moment, the anger and sadness inside her softened. The two women started talking. Karen told Maya about her family's hard times and how Maya's father had helped them. Maya listened carefully. She was touched by the story. She shared how her family had always taught her to be kind and to try to understand others. They talked about the park, the neighborhood, and how important it was for people to trust each other. Karen said she wanted to learn more about Maya and her friends, not just judge them by their laughter or voices. Maya smiled for the first time in days. She said, "Maybe we can work together to make this park a better place for everyone." Karen agreed. They decided to organize a small gathering in the park, where neighbors could come, meet, and share stories. They hoped it would help bring people closer and reduce fear as they planned. Word spread through the community about the incident and the new effort to bring neighbors together. Some people were curious, others were hopeful. Maya and Karen worked hard to invite people from different backgrounds. They wanted to show that everyone could live peacefully, even if they were different. On the day of the gathering, the park was filled with laughter and music. People brought food, games, and decorations. Maya and Karen stood side by side, welcoming guests and sharing smiles. Children played together, and adults talked openly. The atmosphere was warm and friendly. The police officers who had come before also attended. They thanked Maya and Karen for their work in building trust. They said this kind of community effort made their jobs easier and the neighborhood safer. Maya thought about how far they had come since the police visit. What once was a moment of fear and misunderstanding became a moment of hope and connection. Maya felt proud of herself and her community. Karen looked around and felt grateful. She saw faces she had never talked to before, now full of kindness and friendship. She realized that fear often comes from not knowing, but understanding could change everything. By the end of the day, Maya and Karen promised to keep working together. They wanted the park to be a place where everyone felt welcome and safe. They believed that small steps like these could make a big difference in people's lives. Maya knew that the road ahead would not always be easy. Sometimes people would still be afraid or make mistakes. But she was ready to face those challenges with courage and kindness. She hoped that one day, stories like hers would inspire others to see beyond their fears and open their hearts. As the sun set, the park glowed with the light of new friendships. Maya and Karen sat on a bench, talking quietly about their dreams for the future. They smiled, knowing that from a simple conversation, something beautiful had begun. After the gathering in the park, Maya and Karen's relationship slowly grew stronger. They started meeting regularly, sometimes in the park, sometimes at the community center. What began as a difficult moment turned into a chance for both of them to learn from each other. Maya was curious about Karen's life, and Karen wanted to understand the younger generation better. One afternoon, while they were sitting on a bench under the shade of a big tree, Karen looked at Maya closely. She suddenly stopped talking and seemed surprised. Then she said softly, "Maya, I just realized something important. I know who you really are." Maya looked at Karen, puzzled. "What do you mean?" she asked. Karen took a deep breath and explained, "I remember your family from many years ago. Your father was the man who helped my family when we were struggling. He gave us food and support when we had almost nothing. I never forgot that kindness." Maya's eyes widened. Felt a strong mix of emotions, surprise, sadness, and hope all at once. She said, "I didn't know you remembered. My father rarely talks about those times, but he always wanted to help people." Karen smiled gently. He was a good man. "And now I see you, his daughter, doing good in the community too. It made me think about how easily I forgot that when I first saw you in the park." Maya nodded slowly. "I understand. Sometimes people judge too quickly. They don't see the full story," Karen agreed. "Yes, and I'm sorry I made you and your friends feel uncomfortable. I was scared, and I let that fear control my actions. But now I want to make things right." Maya reached out and took Karen's hand. "Thank you for saying that. It means a lot." From that moment, their friendship became deeper. Karen shared stories from her past, about the hard times her family faced, and how Maya's father's help had changed their lives. Maya listened with respect and admiration. She realized that even though their ages were different, they shared many hopes and fears. Together, talked about the challenges their neighborhood faced, how fear and misunderstanding kept people apart, and how important it was to build trust. Maya told Karen about the dreams she had for the community, a place where young and old could come together, where everyone felt safe and welcome. Karen agreed and said, "We should do more. Maybe we can organize classes or events where people can learn about each other's cultures and stories. Maya smiled brightly. That's a great idea. If people know each other better, they won't be afraid. Over the next few weeks, Maya and Karen worked hard to plan new activities. They invited local leaders, teachers, and families to join. They created workshops where people could share their stories, learn new skills, and celebrate their differences. The community center became busy with laughter and learning. Children painted colorful pictures, while adults talked about their lives and dreams. The atmosphere was filled with hope and friendship. Karen saw a new side of Maya's generation young. People full of energy and kindness. Maya saw Karen's true heart, a woman who cared deeply, even if she had made mistakes. One day, while helping set up chairs for a workshop, Karen turned to Maya and said, "I'm proud of you. You're making a difference." Maya blushed and said, "We're doing this together. I couldn't do it without you." Their teamwork inspired others. More neighbors joined the efforts. Slowly, the neighborhood began to change. People smiled when they passed each other on the street. They helped each other in small ways: a shared cup of sugar, a kind word, a helping hand. But not everything was easy. Some people still held on to old fears. Maya and Karen faced challenges when some neighbors did not want to participate or trusted each other less. Sometimes rumors spread or old arguments resurfaced. One afternoon, after a long day of organizing, Maya felt tired and frustrated. She sat quietly on a bench, thinking about how much work was still needed. Karen sat beside her and said gently, "Change takes time, but every small step counts. You're planting seeds that will grow." Maya smiled weakly. "I hope you're right." Karen put her arm around Maya's shoulder. "No. Remember, your father's kindness changed my life. Your kindness can change many more." That night, Maya thought about Karen's words. She remembered her father's lessons about patience and hope. She felt renewed strength inside her. Next day, Maya and Karen went back to the community center with fresh energy. They welcomed new faces and encouraged everyone to keep trying. As the months passed, the park became a symbol of unity. On weekends, families gathered for picnics, children played games, and neighbors shared stories. The park was no longer a place of suspicion, but a place of joy. One day, during a special event to celebrate the community's progress, Maya was invited to speak. She stood in front of a crowd, her heart beating fast. She said, "This park is more than just a place to play. It is a place where we learn to trust each other, where we see the good in everyone, no matter who they are." In the crowd, who smiled proudly, Maya continued, "Sometimes we make mistakes because we are afraid. But when we take the time to understand, when we open our hearts, we can build something beautiful." The crowd clapped warmly. Deep joy. She knew that their journey was just beginning, but they had already come so far. As the sun set, Maya and Karen stood together, looking at the happy faces around them. They knew that the true power of a community was not in buildings or rules, but in the kindness and understanding people shared. After the special event at the park, Maya and Karen's friendship became stronger than ever. They had worked hard to build trust between neighbors, and people were beginning to feel more connected. But Maya knew that healing old wounds and breaking down fears was not something that happened overnight. It took time, patience, and a lot of care. One afternoon, Maya invited Karen to her home for tea. Maya's family welcomed Karen warmly. Maya's mother prepared sweet tea and snacks, and they all sat in the living room talking and laughing. Karen felt comfortable there, surrounded by kindness she hadn't expected. During their conversation, Maya asked Karen how she felt about everything that had happened between them. Karen thought for a moment and said, "At first I was scared of what I didn't understand. But now I see how wrong I was to judge so quickly. Meeting you and your friends has opened my eyes." Maya smiled softly. "I think fear makes us see the world in black and white. But when we take time to listen, we find so many colors we never knew existed." Karen nodded. "You are wise beyond your years. Your father would be proud." Maya's heart swelled. with pride and sadness. She missed her father, who had passed away a few years earlier, but she felt he was with her in spirit, guiding her through this journey. Later that week, Maya and Karen started a new project. They wanted to help young people and elders in the community come together. They created a program called Stories of Us, where neighbors of all ages shared their life experiences. The first meeting was held in the community center. The room was filled with people from different backgrounds, old and young, new and long-time residents. Everyone was nervous, but excited. Maya stood up and said, "We all have stories that make us who we are. When we share them, we understand each other better. Let's listen with open hearts." One by one, people began to speak. An elderly man told about his childhood in a different country and how he came to live here. A young woman shared her dreams of becoming a teacher. Grandmother talked about raising her family and the challenges she faced. As the stories flowed, walls between people began to crumble. Tears were shed, laughter echoed, and friendships formed. Karen listened carefully, feeling grateful to be part of something so meaningful. After the meeting, Karen approached Maya and said, "This is what community means. When we see each other as people, not strangers, we build a family." Maya agreed. And families take care of each other. However, not everyone was happy with the changes. A few neighbors still held on to their fears. They whispered behind closed doors, questioning why Maya and Karen were working so closely. Some thought the efforts were unnecessary or even a threat to their way of life. One day, Karen heard some of these whispers while shopping at the local market. A woman said, "Why does that Karen hang out with those kids? She should know better." Karen felt hurt, but did not let it show. Instead, she decided to face the rumors head-on. She invited the woman and others to the next Stories of Us meeting, hoping they would see the truth for themselves. To her surprise, some of the women accepted the invitation. They came hesitantly, unsure of what to expect. But as they listened to the stories, their expressions softened. They saw the pain and hope in the faces of their neighbors. By the end of the evening, some even thanked Maya and Karen for bringing the community together. Maya was proud of Karen's courage. She said sometimes the hardest thing is to open the door and let people in. But when we do, everything changes. The community continued to grow closer. They started working on new ideas, cleaning the park, planting flowers, and organizing celebrations for holidays. These simple acts brought joy and pride. One sunny morning, Maya and Karen walked through the neighborhood together. Children played happily, neighbors greeted each other warmly, and the park buzzed with life. It was a far cry from the days when fear and suspicion ruled. Karen looked at Maya and said, "I never imagined things could be this different." Maya smiled. "It's because we believed in each other." Just then, a group of teenagers ran past them, laughing. One of them stopped and waved at Maya. It was one of her friends from the park. It's the same group Karen had once called the police on. Karen watched them and felt a deep sense of hope. She realized how much she had grown, how her heart had opened. That afternoon, Maya received a call from a local newspaper. They wanted to write a story about the community's transformation and the work she and Karen had done. Maya was nervous but agreed. When the article was published, it told a story of fear, misunderstanding, and healing. It showed how two women from different generations came together to change their neighborhood. The story inspired others in nearby towns to start similar projects. Maya felt proud, but she knew their work was not finished. There were still people who needed to be reached, old wounds that needed healing. She talked with Karen about starting a mentorship program where elders would guide young people in skills and values, and the youth would teach technology and new ideas to the elders. I hoped this exchange would build even stronger bonds. Karen agreed eagerly. "We are creating a circle of care. Everyone has something to give." The mentorship program began slowly. At first, some were shy or unsure, but soon, stories, laughter, and learning filled the rooms. One evening, during a mentorship gathering, Karen spoke quietly with Maya. "You remind me of your father, the way you care for people." Maya looked at her with tears in her eyes. "I only hope I can be half the person he was." Karen smiled warmly. "You already are." Their turn. showed the power of forgiveness, understanding, and friendship. From a moment of fear and suspicion grew a community united by kindness. Maya and Karen knew that life would continue to bring challenges, but they were ready. Together they would face whatever came with open hearts and hope. As the stars appeared in the night sky, Maya thought of her father and whispered a thank you. She felt his presence around her, proud and peaceful. The neighborhood was no longer divided by fear, but connected by love. And that was the greatest gift of all. Time passed, and the neighborhood continued to grow stronger because of the kindness and understanding that Maya and Karen had helped build. The park was no longer just a place to play. It was a symbol of hope and friendship. People who had once been strangers now waved to each other on the streets. They shared smiles and small talks. The community was alive with warmth. Maya often thought about how far they had come. She remembered the first day Karen had called the police and how scared and confused she had felt. Now, those feelings seemed like a distant memory. She knew that what had happened was important. It was a moment that changed everything. One afternoon, Maya was walking through the park when she saw Karen sitting on a bench, watching a group of children play. Maya sat beside her and they talked. Quietly, Karen said, "I never thought I would feel this close to the people in this neighborhood." "You have taught me so much, Maya." Maya smiled. "We taught each other. It's like your family and mine are connected in a way I never fully understood before." Karen nodded. "Yes, your father's kindness was a light in a dark time for my family. See that light shining in you?" They sat together, feeling the peace of the moment. But the story of their friendship and the community's healing was not just about that, Karen. It was about everyone who chose to believe in each other, who opened their hearts to hope instead of fear. One day, the neighborhood faced a big challenge. A strong storm came, bringing heavy rain and wind. Trees fell, and some homes were damaged. The power went out for many hours. People were scared and worried. Maya and Karen quickly organized help. They checked on neighbors, especially the elderly and families with small children. Volunteers gathered to clear fallen branches and fix fences. The community came together, working side by side to restore their homes and streets. During those difficult hours, the trust and friendship that had grown over time showed its true strength. Strangers helped strangers. Children learned how to care for others. The storm reminded everyone that they were stronger together. After the storm passed, Maya stood in the middle of the park, now messy with leaves and broken branches. She thought about how the neighborhood had weathered more than just storms. They had faced fear, misunderstanding, and pain. But through it all, they had stayed united. Karen joined her and said, "This park has seen so much, but it is still here, still strong, just like us." Maya looked around, feeling proud. "We have built something that will last." In the following weeks, the community held a celebration to thank everyone who helped during the storm. There was music, food, and dancing. People shared stories about how they had supported each other. Maya gave a speech. She said, "We have learned that kindness and courage can overcome any storm. When we come together, we can face anything." The crowd cheered, and Maya felt a deep joy in her heart. As the years went by, Maya and Karen continued their work. They started a small community garden where neighbors grew vegetables and flowers together. The garden became a place of learning and friendship. Children learned how to plant seeds and care for the earth. Elders shared stories about nature and life. The garden was more than plants. It was a symbol of growth and hope. It reminded everyone that with care and patience, even small seeds can grow into something beautiful. One day, a young girl came to the garden. She looked shy and nervous. Maya smiled and invited her to join. The girl said her name was Lily, and she had just moved to the neighborhood. Maya and Karen welcomed Lily with open arms. They showed her how the garden worked and introduced her to other children. Slowly, Lily's smile grew wider, and she felt at home. Maya thought about how important it was to welcome new neighbors with kindness. She remembered how she had once felt afraid and unsure. Now, she wanted everyone to feel the love and acceptance she had found. Karen watched Lily playing and said, "This is the future community that cares and grows together." Maya nodded. And it starts with us. Evening. Maya and Karen sat in the garden under the stars. They talked about their journey from fear and suspicion to friendship and hope. They laughed at the mistakes they had made and celebrated the lessons they had learned, Karen said. I never thought I would find a friend like you, Maya. You have changed my life, Maya smiled. And you have changed mine. Your courage, too. Face your fears has helped me believe in the power of forgiveness. They sat quietly, feeling grateful for the path they had walked together. Maya knew that life would continue to bring challenges. There would always be moments of fear and doubt, but she believed that with kindness, understanding, and courage, people could overcome anything. She thought about her father, whose kindness had started it all. She whispered a thank you to him in her heart. The neighborhood was no longer divided by fear. It was a place of friendship, hope, and growth. And Maya and Karen knew that as long as people chose to see the good in each other, the light would never fade.